This video is going to be all about efficient usage of your diamonds on a daily basis, as well as your efficient actions on, the missions, the objectives. So, where we're going to start is collecting our daily rewards. I'm just going to move this over here. Sorry about that, guys. So, collect my raid tickets. Now, I've got both of these rolling, so that's a nice, kind of addition. The Prime card's a no-brainer. If you're having any plans of playing this for an extended period of time, it's 100 diamonds a day forever. Then we have Pikachu Friendship, which is always nice. Try to hit these times if you can. 300 extra bit is pretty substantial. Now, I am quite a high VIP, but what I'll tell you guys is that I started this server, which is 340, at a much later time than everyone else. I found this game kind of late, got to the server kind of late. I've still managed to work my way up to number 1. And some people might argue, it's just by spending. I can tell you what, it's definitely not. There's a lot of other people here who've spent a lot of money. Days like this, if you're looking to spend for gems, are good ones. Strike cards are huge. These gold accessory boxes are especially large now that we can get into the unique items. And even advanced accessory boxes are great for powering up your gear, and you can get a lot of them, as you can see. Stuff like this, not too bad, because if you do both days, it's actually more efficient to do less over 2 days than one big batch in one day. It's a pretty easy mathematical calculation to see that only going to 13,000 is more beneficial than going to 26 or even 30,000. So try to keep that in mind. If you think that you like the items that are popping up, then commit over 2 days. Don't just freak out and buy over one. Okay? Try to have a plan in place for where you're going with your team too. That's a big one. Now, if you are someone a little higher on the server, what you can afford to start doing is the VIP value set. Make sure you pick up these bagels. The additional VIT is amazing for the daily VIT events, okay? Next up, collect any mail that we have. We own the server, so I collect all this. We literally get everyone, number 1. Next up, try and hit those capsules ASAP. You got to collect 5 of them. This is another huge thing. I managed to catch up to a lot of people on the server because I do every task every day. Now, I don't see value in doing the Fortune Cat more than once. Maybe you're lucky and get it 10 times, but honestly, you're going to get so much more from Crystal, it's kind of a waste of time. Here's a cool little trick, though, that you guys might not be aware of. You can actually go to the center here. You can press on the person. You can like them and get 10,000 gold. As easy as that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've turned off the other characters showing up. Next up, I probably don't have the gold for it yet. You're going to want to spend at least 3 skill points on anything. It really does not matter what you spend it on. I'm working on my mail letter right now. Another huge tip, guys. Always keep your top 3 players at the top. Now, some gear changes has caused my Zygarde to go ahead of my White Kyurem. But always try to keep those 3 on top. Oops, sorry about that. Because that's what's gonna keep others down. So it's gonna keep them from winning in certain objectives, and I'll explain more on that later. Okay. Then we're going to want to do our adventures. If you're lucky enough, call it, to be in Masters, always make sure you're picking these up. Even though they're only ones. And we'll talk more about the ones and the twos and the threes later. Then we got this one. And then finally, we've got this one. Still can't 4-star it. It's actually surprisingly hard to do this stuff. So, back to efficient diamond usage. If it's not a bonus day or a daily vid cost, you're not going to want to go and spend more than 100 diamonds on your vid. Now, because it is the daily diamond vid bonus deal, you're going to want to go till it hits 200. So you're actually spending 300 gems on it. Okay, guys? Next up, because it's not daily double, you're going to want to put your focus into Safari. And if you can, you're going to raid the final one. You need these cards to power up your character, your Pokemon in this case. Okay, so I've completed that objective. I'm going to use what I have left as well as working towards. I typically go to 1200. Oh, where is it? I typically go to the 1200 mark, sometimes the 1600 mark, and I'll do that with, you know, my Pikachu friendship. I'll do it with, you know, spending the 300 diamonds, and then bagels. So we're going to collect all this. Now, in regards to the store, always grab these when they're available for gold. They're very valuable for when powering up. Because there's the 20% sale, I'm going to look for any valuable mount gear. There's nothing right now. In regards to this, the majority of it is a complete waste. The shards are retardedly expensive. 3 for 600. Like, never ever ever spend on that. You guys are really truly hurting yourself. Badges, they're mostly worth it when there's the 20% sale, so long as it's one of the more valuable ones. Also, get those heirloom compound potions. So for you guys just starting the game, or maybe in the future, you know, maybe you're partway through the game or you're near the top in the server, grab those as frequently as you can when there's a sale on that 20% sale, because they're what's going to get you the platinum accessories. And unless you're a really heavy spender, those platinum accessory upgrades just burn through all of your gold items. So using these, you're just using 4 and it's guaranteed, rather than you technically using about 10 before you get what you're looking for, if you average it out. I'm gonna get all this stuff. I'm gonna check for anything valuable here. I don't need any of this. I'm gonna, because I'm in first place, I get a lot of these points. So I'm gonna take full advantage of them. There we go. Probably got a couple more. I'm willing to go to 100 even. This is a quick and easy way to get shards. And I'm constantly going up every day. I never seem to be going down because I'm maintaining that first place. For those of you who aren't maintaining the first place, I wouldn't spend more than 100 points. So the 50 and the 50, looking to get those Arceus shards. But they're definitely worth it. I've got a good number of guild points. Only ever use your guild points on the guild maxing. Once you're maxed, feel free to expand. I'm going to pick up attribute stones even though I don't need any more. I think protection badge is the one I need. Honestly, I always forget. No, it's not protection. I need shield badge. So I'm going to keep going along in the shop here. So next up is the League store. I'm going to pick up my attribute stones. I'm going to refresh it. Same kind of concept. You know, I'm going to refresh it a couple of times. I can clear to the end very easily every time. Okay. So, from here, I'm going to clear out some of my bag. So you'll start collecting items. Some of them I like to hold on to. I usually wait till I get about 100 of each before I go and use all. That just kind of expands my chances of getting one that's of value. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys, when you're doing it. Other thing to keep in mind is if you are a spender, don't use them if you don't need them. I already have level 9s of my epic held items. I don't need to spend. If they bring out a new item, I want to be able to take full advantage of it. Okay, so we've got some more objectives to do here. So what I like to do is I do the elite missions, and I do the strongest elite mission I can. And the reason I do the strongest elite mission I can is because if I'm not, I'm kind of losing out on all the bonuses I'm getting. I need to do elites. I might as well get as many of these as I can. I don't technically need any more, but when I'm looking to upgrade them to stars, I'm going to be at an advantage there. Then for the normal, because I definitely don't need anything from normal. I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to go to the level 1, and I'm going to raid this the few times that I need to, okay? I'm out of points to do it, but once I get Pikachu Friendship and I start using my bagel, like do the mathematical calculation of how much VIT I'm going to get for the day just to make sure that I'm reaching that 1200 mark I talked about, okay? Then I'm going to collect all my, I probably should have done this first, I'm going to collect and send all my VIT from here. Another little tip you guys might not be aware of, go into your head-on battle. I've got a nice little 77 wins there in a row. I'm going to go into my head-on battle, and I'm going to pick 3 people to power up. Now, by worshipping them, I'm getting 10 more VIT per person. So that's giving me 52 points, which should allow me to finish what I was doing here. So bear with me. 6, 7... And then from this point forward, you know, working my way to the 1200 VIT, it's purely going into those raid cards or whatever you want to call them. Here we go. Yeah, the safari cards, my apologies. Okay, next up, make sure you're doing and checking your explorer, looking for those A's and those S's. You're going to want to do all of your gyms if you can. I'm able to raid them all, so I'll raid them all. And then what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to, you know, upgrade these appropriately. I'm not going to go through that right now. You guys don't need to see that, okay? From here, make sure I make my guild donation. That's very important. I'm in a great guild, and these guys deserve the donation. I'm going to look to upgrade that guild tech, which I can. So, from here, hope you guys are digging the music. Alright, so I talked about wanting to deal with order. It's very important. Especially when you're not number 1, it can be very helpful to pick a very specific order of doing this to maximize your potential rewards and your maximum damage. So I'll basically start with the Pokemon tournament, especially if I'm able to get through it easily. A lot of you will find that you're able to get through the whole thing. Maybe not completely on auto like me, but that's going to get you the shop to exchange the points to power yourself up a little bit, okay? Then you're going to want to be spending your guild points to maximize your damage or your protections or whatever before going into something else, okay? Then, you know, we've dealt with all of this. We've powered up in our gyms. So, you know, we've maximized our power in the gyms. We've spent our safari points. We've done all that kind of stuff. What we're going to be looking to do now is our objectives. Now, here's a little known trick, I think, for most people. Do not start at the highest floor. This really kind of keeps you from maximizing the points that you have. I know, it's annoying starting at floor 1, but the benefit of going from floor 1 all the way to floor 60, if you can get there, or as high as you can go, it really adds up. So that when you're going to spend these mastery points, you're going to find you actually have a lot more of them than you were used to when you started at the higher floor. So that's a huge thing to take into consideration. Okay, guys? Sorry, it covers the camera there. Next up. So, you've done your battle tower, you've gone as high as you can, okay? Another important thing to remember, I'm just going to go through it real quick to show you. If you can, you're going to want to spend 20 diamonds on each floor with a chest. The reason for that being is that it's going to allow you to get extra mastery points. And although it might only be 20 or 30 points depending on how high you can go up the tower, those 20 or 30 points are going to add up quick. Especially when we're talking days and weeks. That's how I was able to go from this pleb on the server who was like level 30. And I specifically remember one of the members saying, "Where did you come from? Like, you weren't even on the radar. And now you're all of a sudden like in the top 20. And I went from the top 20 to the top 10 and the top 10 to the top 1. How did I do that? Patience. Knowing what teams I wanted to make, knowing what worked against what, not just blowing all my diamonds at once, but using them methodically when the benefit would come from it. So here's where I'm talking about the chest. I'm not going to go through the whole battle tower for you guys. You don't need to see that. One more thing I will mention though are the buffs. So here we go, right? So I get that, and then I'll pop it one more time. Not only am I getting a bunch of extra items, I might be getting extra points. Don't do the 50. If you're a big spender, please go ahead and do the 50. Otherwise, it is a waste to go to the 50. But when you're doing the buffs, this is what you want to prioritize. Speed first, damage second, crit third, armor fourth. Try not to spend it on healing if you can. Hopefully you guys have a faded enemy. If you do have a faded enemy, always make sure you're sending that gift to your buddy and battling him. So I'll show you quickly. And some of you might not be familiar with this. Skipping actually doesn't like mean you lose or anything. You can actually skip the game and you're getting the victory or the loss, depending on which, and it's going to save you a bunch of time. Okay. So that is that shown to you guys. So once you've finished your battle tower and you've spent your mastery points, you're also going to want to make sure you're doing your server gyms. If you can do a server gym or you have a server gym available to you, make sure you're taking full advantage of that. I'm not going to make you guys wait and see me starting the next server gym. I'm just going to cycle through here. Try to check them as frequently as possible so that you're catching them right as you drop off, because this game's all about time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 hours between doing them adds up, and it adds up quick when you're talking weeks or months, right? It kind of compounds. Also, guys, when you've got a layer, don't screw other people over. Help them out too. You know, they're on your friends list, hopefully for a reason. And by leaving the boss alive, someone else can get some value out of it. Now I left about 92%. So always try to use like a level 1 or a level 2 or something's weak against it so that you can kind of take full advantage and let others take full advantage. So you finished your battle tower, you finished your gyms in getting those all set up, you know, your server gyms. From here, we're going to want to start battling people. So we're going to do our word series, okay? I seem to go down to 8 and then back up to 14. Hopefully I can continue my quest to number 1 for the world. Then we have our EXVS. I'm already number 1 for that. But try to get as high up as you can. Those flashpoints are invaluable. After you've done your EXVS, you're going to want to do about 3 head-on battles. You can also do 4. Save your 5th for right before the, not the world boss, right before the, sorry guys, right before the Pokemon Riot. If you do it like 1 minute before, you might be able to snipe a position, okay? I've managed to save up 77 wins. I'm going to keep going. Hopefully that bonus can go past 25%. And yeah, so in respects to other ways to spend your diamonds, I guess that's all that's left. Shards. It is worth it. How far do you go with it? You'll refresh, okay? That's going to give it a new personality. You'll see the personality there. Now, like I said, when I first came here, I was a complete pleb. I had no idea how the game worked, what was going on. Dioxys, my boy here, he's done really well for me. He's what I'm famous for in the server. If you ever see my icon, I don't know how to do this. So with shards, I was a bit of a pleb. I didn't understand personalities and the value of personalities if you can control them. Make sure you wait for the right one. How many diamonds is worth it to spend? Well, that's really up to you. But if you're looking to conserve diamonds or build up a stock of diamonds to participate in events because maybe you don't spend money on the game, refresh once is going to give you a 50 diamond cost for a chance at the personality you're looking for. I'll talk about personalities more in the future. You can technically refresh one more time for 100 diamonds, and it's still, I think, valuable. Anything past that, it's more desperation or rush. And like I said, this is a patience game. And I've been patient, and that's how I've gotten to where I am now. There have been those who've rushed, those who've spent lots, like Internetico and stuff like them, and they're not anywhere close to where I am, even though they've spent so much money on this game. Okay, another one, I need to move my camera over here. Another one that's really important to pay attention to is gems on your home. So once you get to those level 3 seeds, it is definitely worth getting the level 3 harvest. You get bonus damage, you get all sorts of great benefits from it. So definitely make sure you're taking advantage of that. Once you get a nice stockpile on it, you're not going to have to do it anymore. Try to be efficient with your counting too. So whenever I'm participating in that, I'm always making sure that I'm not going widely. For example, let's say I'm at 2,500 gems spent. I don't want to be at 3,000 because now I've spent 500 extra gems and I'm not getting any value. So I either need to spend an additional 500 gems or I should have only spent 2,500. So definitely keep that in mind, guys. Don't get caught. Okay? Flash exchange. It is worth it spending 200 gems, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 times until it goes to the 300. Once it reaches the 300, it's not going to be worth your time. Do remember when the reset is, and make sure you have the flash points. You know, I have 512. Make sure you have the flashpoints to support what you're looking to upgrade. Otherwise, great, you got the character you're looking for on your screen, but you can't afford to buy him. So why did you spend the gems to get him? Because now you can't even have them, so it's like taunting you, right? So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, guys. There's nothing really else that's worth spending your gems on. Don't be spending your gems on, you know, I'll show you here. Don't be spending your gems on training, okay? Don't be spending your gems on the breakthrough. Save those strike cards, save those attributes. The cost gets absurd. It is not worth your time, okay? So yeah, I think that covers us for today, guys. Please like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you'd like to know, what you'd like to see. Feel free to ask any questions you have. And please share. I'd love for this channel to kind of catch on and for me to be able to really get down to business with you guys. I've seen a lot of challenges out there and they're not really explaining anything. Maybe you could argue they're just showing some things off. And have an excellent night.